You know, Adam, I was talking to a student yesterday. His name is Carlos, and he said something that broke my heart. He said, Hannah, I've studied English for 10 years. I can read Shakespeare, but I'm still stuck in a low-level job in my country.
That's the English problem, isn't it?
Exactly. He has the skill, but he has no leverage. And without leverage, English is just a hobby. It's not a tool for freedom.
Wait, let's stop there because I think people hear the word leverage and they think of, I don't know, Wall Street, complex math. Can we break that down?
It's actually very simple. Leverage is the ability to do one thing and get 10 results.
Okay, give me an example.
Think about Arjun. Arjun is a brilliant software developer in India. He's a genius at coding, but his English is just okay. He works for a local company, he works 10 hours a day, he gets paid a local salary.
Right, he's trading time for money, one-to-one.
Exactly. Now, look at David. David is also a coder. He's maybe 70% as good as Arjun. But David's English? It's sharp. It's persuasive. He uses his English to find a client in New York. He works the same 10 hours, but he makes 5 times more than Arjun. That is leverage. The English didn't make him a better coder. It made his code more valuable.
So English is the multiplier.
Precisely. But here's the problem. Most people are using a broken multiplier
Tell me more about that. Why is it broken?
because they are focused on correct English instead of high-value English. Calmly listen carefully. The world does not pay you for your grammar. The world pays you for the impact of your words.
I like that. It's like I see people like Aisha. She's so smart, but in meetings, she's quiet. She's afraid of making a mistake, so she stays stuck.
And that silence is costing her thousands of dollars every year. Every time Aisha stays silent because she's not ready, someone else, someone less talented, takes the opportunity.
It's almost like we're taxed for our hesitation. An English tax.
That's a perfect way to put it, Adam. The English tax. And for most of you listening, that tax is 50% of your potential income.
Okay, so how do we stop paying the tax? How do we move from stuck to leverage?
The first step is the output audit.
Output audit. Explain that.
Look at your last 7 days. How many hours did you spend consuming English? Watching Netflix, reading books, listening to this podcast?
Probably most of the time.
Right. Now, how many hours did you spend producing English? Writing emails that sell, speaking in meetings, recording a video of yourself, or negotiating?
For most people, that number is 0.
And that is why you're stuck. You are a consumer of the language, not a producer of value. Leverage comes from production. If you want to double your income, you have to double your output in the target language.
But Hannah, what if they're afraid of looking stupid? Like, I know I felt that way when I started.
Adam, let's be real. Do you remember Samuel?
The guy from the conference?
Yes, Samuel spoke with a very heavy accent. He made mistakes with he and she all the time. But do you remember what happened when he stood up to speak?
Yeah, everyone stopped talking.
Why?
Because he had conviction. He believed in what he was saying.
Exactly. Authority isn't about being correct. Authority is about being certain. Listen, if you are certain about your value, the world will forgive your grammar. But if you are uncertain about your value, no amount of perfect English will save you.
This is so powerful. I want to shift gears for a second. We talked about leverage, but what about scalability? How does English help me scale my income without working more hours?
This is my favorite part. Let's talk about Priya. Priya is a teacher. She used to teach English, or rather math in English, at a small school in her city. She was exhausted.
Trading hours for dollars again.
Exactly. Then she realized she had a specific skill. She could explain complex math to children using very simple English. She started a YouTube channel, not in her native language, but in English.
Why English?
Because the market for her native language is 50 million. The market for English is 2 billion. She scaled her audience by 40 times just by switching languages.
40 times. That's the difference between a small business and a global empire.
And today, Priya doesn't teach in a classroom. She has a digital course. She wakes up and students from Brazil, Poland, and Vietnam have bought her lessons while she was sleeping. That is the ultimate leverage. English allowed her to decouple her time from her income.
So, for everyone listening, English isn't just a skill on your CV, it's your ticket to the global economy.
It's the only ticket. If you stay in your local language, you are limited by your local economy. If your local economy is struggling, you struggle. But if you speak English, you are no longer a citizen of one country. You are a citizen of the global market.
Pause. But here's the problem. I see people who get this, they understand it, but they get overwhelmed. They think, okay, I need to be perfect before I can start.
And that is the perfection trap. Let me tell you a secret. Pause. The most successful people I know in the international business world, they speak global English.
Global English? Is that different from British or American English?
It's much better. It's simplified. It's direct. It's focused on the result. Like laugh, have you ever noticed that non-native speakers often communicate better with each other than they do with native speakers?
Actually, yes, I've seen it.
It's because they aren't trying to be fancy. They're trying to be understood. Leverage doesn't require fancy. It requires functional.
So, if I'm Luca, a designer in Italy, I don't need to sound like I'm from London. I just need to sound like a designer who can get results for a client in New York.
Exactly. Luca needs to know the vocabulary of design and the vocabulary of negotiation. He doesn't need to know the slang used by teenagers in California.
That's such a relief. It makes the mountain feel like a hill.
It is a hill, but you have to start climbing. Pause. You can't wait for the weather to be perfect.
Breath. I want to talk about the pivot, that moment when someone realizes, okay, I'm done being a student. I'm now a professional who uses English. How do they make that mental switch?
It starts with a low-stakes win. Soft smile. Most people wait for a high-stakes moment, like a job interview, to test their English. That's a mistake. The pressure is too high.
So, what's a low-stakes win?
Send an email to someone you admire in your industry, in English. Ask them one smart question. Or leave a thoughtful comment on a LinkedIn post by a global CEO. Pause. These are small actions, but they train your brain to see English as a tool for connection, not a test to be passed.
I love that. Use the tool. Don't just polish the tool in your garage. Take it out and build something.
Exactly. I remember Victor. Victor was so afraid to speak. He told me, Hannah, I'm a senior manager, but in English, I feel like a child.
I hear that so often. I feel like a child.
And I told him, Victor, people aren't looking at your grammar. They're looking at your eyes. If you look like you belong there, they will believe you. He started practicing power posing before his English calls. He focused on his tone of voice. He slowed down. And you know what? He got the promotion. Not because his English got better, but because his presence got better.
Pacing. You just mentioned slowing down. That's a big one, right?
It's the biggest secret of all. Robotic, fast, nervous speech, it kills authority. If you want to sound like you have leverage, you have to be comfortable with silence.
Like that?
Exactly like that. When you pause, you show that you are in control of the conversation. You aren't rushing to please the listener. You are giving your ideas space to breathe.
This is interesting. So, income is stuck because of a lack of leverage. Leverage is missing because of a lack of output. Output is missing because of a lack of confidence. And confidence is missing because we're chasing perfection instead of function. Did I get that right?
You nailed it, Adam. It's a chain, and the weakest link is usually the mindset.
Let's talk to the person listening right now. They're in their car, or at the gym, or maybe at their desk, and they feel that stuck feeling. They know they're worth more. What's the HANA challenge for them this week?
The challenge is simple. I want you to find one way to use your English to create value for someone outside of your country. One email, one post, one video, one conversation.
Just one?
Just one. But it must be output. No more input for a day. Stop reading, start reaching. Because the world is waiting for your contribution, and it doesn't care about your prepositions.
I think we just saved a lot of people a lot of money.
I hope so, because English shouldn't be a prison. It should be a key.
This has been such a deep dive. Hannah, thank you. Every time we talk, I feel like my own English tax gets a little smaller.
We're all learning, Adam, every day.
That felt real, didn't it? Tell me, who are you more like? Pause. Are you like Arjun, working hard but staying local?
Are you still waiting? Or are you ready to speak now? Comment Adam if you feel the struggle.
Or Hannah, if you're done waiting.
We'll pen the best comment.
Keep practicing.
Keep speaking.
We'll see you next time on the English Mint Podcast.